What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. Deep breaths, people. That game yesterday, that sent us through hell and back. I think I speak for everyone when I say we went through a roller coaster of emotions that was very, very difficult to handle. And I have a lot to say about the game. I'm going to try and summarize it the best I can for you guys. But before we get into all of that, you guys know the drill around here. Mott's applesauce, if you're ever hungry, thirsty, whatever it might be, Mott's applesauce will satisfy. Whatever satisfy you need, satisfy the Caveman guarantee. I promise it will never fail you. Let's get into it, people. So here we are post week 14. The Buffalo Bills are narrowly defeated by the reigning Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, by a score of 33-27 in the extra period. You know, I don't feel bad about that loss, like, compared to other losses that we've suffered earlier this season. You know, the Patriots, the Jags, the Colts. I don't have that same bad taste in my mouth after this one. But that doesn't change the fact that it was gut-wrenching, soul-crushing, and absolutely heartbreaking for us to watch the way that game unfolded, the way we lost that game. It was just so freaking difficult and emotionally stressful to go through and watch. Us Bills fans, we were crushed. Like I said, I have a lot to say about this game, and I want to get it all out of the way. Negative and positive. And I suppose we'll get the negative out of the way first. The first half, neither side of the ball did their job to any capacity whatsoever. And the scoreboard exactly displayed that. 24-3 going into halftime. We had the ball on offense inside of the Buccaneer territory just one singular time. One time we found Buccaneer territory on the offensive side of the ball. And the defense, they were pretty much invisible. Once Leonard Fournette went 47 yards to the crib, untouched for a touchdown, I thought that's exactly what we were going to be watching all day. I think all of us Bills fans were like, well, here we go again. Patriots game 2.0, Colts game 2.0. We're just not going to be able to stop the run, and they're just going to pound it down our throats forcibly while we sit here and watch as our team just can't do anything. And that right there, that touchdown by Fournette, that really just sucked the life out of all of us. Like, what the hell, man? And meanwhile, as Leonard Fournette is able to run 50 yards without being touched by a defending player, Josh Allen doesn't have a second to breathe, let alone drop back to pass behind his own offensive line for an entire first half. And he pretty much was running for his entire life, which has been the narrative for this poor kid for this entire year. But boy, oh boy, that first half, that was as bad as it's been this entire season. It was horrible for him. Although as bad as that first half was, the fact that we went down 24-3 and our offense and defense collectively were playing horrendous football was not even the biggest negative of this entire game. Like I said, we found ourselves in Tampa Bay territory just one time in the first half, and I believe it was like our second or third drive in the game. We finally got a rhythm, moved down the field about 70 yards or so, and we found ourselves on the 2 or 3 yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Down 10-0, we were on the Buccaneer 3 yard line, and we were at a 4th and short. Obviously, our offense was struggling to muster anything at all. Clearly, our defense wasn't going to make a stop that entire half. So what do? Sean McDermott, in his infinite wisdom, some people are going to defend this decision to kick the field goal because it somewhat worked out in the end, but I don't care. At that point in time, kicking a field goal to make it 10-3 instead of going for a 10-7 chance to keep yourself in the football game was 100%, 10 times out of 10, the incorrect decision. We go for 7. 1, we make it. We get our 7 points. We're only down by 3. We're back in the game. Yippee, obviously that's good. We don't convert. We obviously miss. Okay, we're down 10-0 still, but you set your defense up in such a good spot to finally make a stop on this offense. It's been torching them all game. What do we do instead? Well, we know what we do. We kick the field goal. Conservative, passive football, it's going to screw us, man. It's going to screw us again, like it already has so many times this season. It's just going to continue to come back and bite us in the ass. But that's the thing. It got even worse. Like, that wasn't even close to the worst of it. The first drive coming out of the second half, the Buffalo Bills have the ball, right? And we find ourselves around midfield on another 4th and short, another big spot for Sean McDermott to make a pretty big, yet obvious decision, you would like to think. Down 24-3, It's 4th and 2 near midfield. It's obvious that you're supposed to go for it in that situation if you want to keep yourselves in that game. But what do we do? What do we do? We roll out the punt team. A $258 million quarterback, and you pull him off the field to get 2 yards, and you punt the ball. Or at least, so we thought we were punting the ball. What do we do instead? Something that I think was even worse than punting the ball. We go for one of the worst drawn-up fake punt plays I have ever seen, ever. The fake punt was your choice over giving your $258 million quarterback and then high-powered offense and getting 2. You went with your special team unit to get that 2 yards instead of your offense. Someone make it make sense. Someone help me, please. Of course we don't convert the fake punt. Of course we don't. Because why would we? But that doesn't take away from the fact that, A, the decision was horrible to go for a fake punt. If you're going to go for it, leave your offense on the field. But 2, the second part of it is the fake punt play call. What is that play? Why is the fullback, Reggie Gilliam, taking the snap? And why is he not just booking it forward? You needed 2 yards. That's all you needed. As soon as Reggie caught the snap, the play call should have been, just run, Reggie. Just run for that first down marker, Reggie. But instead, the drawn-up play is for Reggie to take the snap and hand it off to Matt Breida, who has to run 2 or 3 yards horizontally across the line of scrimmage before he even goes for the first down marker, and we lose 3 yards. I mean, I thought that was rock bottom, truthfully. I thought that was rock bottom. But boy, was I wrong. I mean, the fact that we were in this football game is honestly a miracle now that I'm going through it again. Like, the fact that we made something out of this, it's mind-blowing because of the decisions that were made by our head coach. Once again, this time we're down 24-10. Our defense is finally making some plays to stop Tom Brady. Our offense is finally finding some rhythm and gaining some momentum. We're down 24-10, right? We're once again pretty much at midfield, 4th and short. 4th and short. The same situation. What do we do? Punt down 14 points. The clock is becoming your enemy. The clock is the biggest thing here. The clock's becoming your enemy. Down 14 points. You're at midfield with 2 yards to gain. You are essentially waving the white flag by punting the ball there. Like I said, it's a miracle we even got back in this football game. But it's pretty much waving the white flag. You punt that ball back to Tom Brady. You put your defense in a spot to have to make them go 3 and out, which was no guarantee. Not at all. And what happens? Tom Brady goes, 89 yards? Back into our end, wasting 6 total minutes and getting those 3 points that he would have gotten if we would have just given him the ball at midfield if we hypothetically did not gain the 2 yards for the first down. But instead, Tom Brady got those 3 points and he was able to waste 6 minutes of our time. Why? Because for some reason, Sean McDermott in his infinite wisdom once again decided playing conservative football, playing passive football, and letting our defense have the opportunity and leaving it in their hands and putting the ball back in Tom Brady's hands was the best idea at the time. You can't change conservative mindsets, man. I don't know what it's going to take to wire this guy differently, but I don't think it's going to change. I think honorable mention for negatives that came out of this game was the offensive line looked horrible, per usual. The defense looked horrible in the first half, which I hope to God doesn't happen a singular time again this year. And the fact that our defensive lineman, F.A. Obata, got juked out by a 50-year-old man. And let's not forget the fact that we got completely screwed over by the referee crew, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Now let's talk about some positives. Let's lighten up the room because, like I said, the second half was great. We made a lot of big plays to work our way back in this football game, and they deserve to be mentioned. First positive I have that I want to mention is how well the defense played in the second half. In my opinion, they were the side of the ball that kick-started the entire comeback. They were making stop after stop. Aside for the 3 points they gave up, they had their backs against the wall the entire half, and they did their job each and every time. Understandably, both sides of the ball pulled their weight in the second half, but the defense was playing in do-or-die situations each and every time they stepped on the field. If they gave up one more point than they did in that second half, our comeback is shot in the chest. And there are 2 specific players that I would shine the spotlight on for yesterday's performance. One being Dane Jackson for stepping up in a big spot, being a backup going against that wide receiver group, and making a lot of humongous plays. So Dane Jackson played a great game, as well as Jordan Poyer. He's been playing at an all-pro level all damn season, but yesterday, my God, yesterday he made so many humongous plays and he pulled a lot of weight and he was the anchor on that defense yesterday. So that guy deserves all the credit in the world as well. Second positive that I took out of this game was a positive that I never would have expected to take coming out of this game. And that was Brian Daboll and how well he play called and the game plan he put together being extremely efficient and effective for the offense to move down the field. There's no way around it. Brian Daboll did a fantastic job yesterday. I think I speak for a lot of Bills fans when I say we have all wanted his head on the chopping block as of late. He has been sucking this year. He has had very few games where the game plan has looked good, flawless, and effective, where he wasn't making boneheaded play calls on every single drive. But this game, I could say this game safely, he called a damn near perfect football game. Apparently, the Bills were the first team since 1991 to not give a single handoff to a running back for an entire half. I didn't even know that was a stat, but, you know, hats off to Brian Daboll for understanding that it probably would not have gone anywhere if we handed the ball off even just once. He was self-aware. He knew how the game script was going. He was watching the offensive line. Good on him for that as well. Of course, finally, we must acknowledge, you know, the most obvious positive, the most obvious, biggest playmaker that we had in this entire game, the one human being that keeps the team afloat, Josh Allen. That was a Superman performance. That is what a most valuable player performance looks like right there. I know Josh Allen won't win the MVP at the end of the year. I just know he won't. But just knowing how well Josh Allen played in that game, that is what an MVP looks like. Without Josh Allen, our team sinks. Not only in that game, but we sink to probably bottom 15, bottom 10 in the NFL. That's how important Josh Allen is to our football team because he's the most valuable player to any team in the NFL. And that is just the facts of it. Over 100 rushing yards, over 300 passing yards, a 21-point comeback from behind against the reigning Super Bowl champions and one of the best defenses in the NFL. I mean, miraculous. Miraculous. Not to mention, he made history because there were only 3 other quarterbacks before Josh Allen just did it yesterday that ever in history ran for 100 yards and passed for 300 yards in the same game. So Josh Allen, he played amazing and made history in the process. It was one of the most miraculous performances I have ever laid eyes on. And this last point I have to mention, I don't want to waste too much energy yelling about it. I don't want to waste too much time talking about it because I think everybody feels the same way. We got royally screwed. I am not one to make excuses. I will rip every single one of the players and coaches in this organization, in this franchise, before I go through and rip the referees a new one. But this is warranted. They absolutely had something to do with the outcome of that game. They impacted it far too much. Stefon Diggs was not legally allowed to play football because those defenders, those defensive backs were all over him all night. And that play, that third down, right before we kicked the game-time field goal, Stefon Diggs did not even get an opportunity to go up and make a play on that fade pass. He didn't because he got mugged, and somehow there was no flag thrown. And that was not the only time that happened. I mean, he was getting held, he was getting mugged, he was getting grabbed all damn football game, and nothing was done about it. Not a single flag was thrown for a defensive back holding Stefon Diggs. I've never seen anything like it. And then the first chance they get in the biggest spot of the football game, when the Buffalo Bills defense makes a play in overtime, Mike Evans pulls Levi Wallace in, and he's grabbing him, and they get a flag. I've never seen anything like it. It was the most one-sided referee job I've ever seen. If the refs are going to be shit, then be consistently shit. I mean, you cannot call what you called on Levi Wallace if you're not going to call what you didn't call on the defensive back that was defending Diggs all day. Anyways, that's about all I got. I mean, sure, the loss sucked, but the game really didn't. The first half did, but the second half made up for it, and that's all I can ask for, is a team that goes out there and fights and puts every ounce of effort they have into each minute they're on the football field. And even though it didn't look like it in the first half, they made up for it in the second. If we come back and we play like we did in that second half for the rest of the year, we will run the table and have a chance at getting our division back. Truthfully, we will beat the Patriots without a doubt if we play that kind of football. If you enjoyed the video, as always, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. If you want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there, I'd appreciate that as well. I'm a part of the Built in Buffalo content creation team. If you enjoy Buffalo Bills content, be sure to follow and subscribe to us on any social medias you might have, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.